Cities were actually invented to minimize the need for transportation. If a city's well designed, you need less transportation, not more. Putting things closer together, that's what the idea of cities in the first place is all about. The practice of transportation planning, however, is focused on mobility. It's focused on speed, it's focused on distance. It's less focused on access, which is really what cities are all about. Cities are about access to land uses, they're about access to ideas, to people, to social interaction. And that often gets lost in the practice of transportation planning, particularly within cities. It's important to be realistic about what transit can and can't do. So transit's good at this. It's good from getting to a lot of places to a few places. It's bad at getting from a lot of places to a lot of places. Cars are good for that. So understanding where we have the conditions on the left is a real key to understanding where transit's going to be functional. Freeways are another way that we spend lots and lots of transportation dollars, and again, the sales pitch is always that these freeways are going to relieve congestion. Freeways are typically the most congested facility type in the system. They're really good at one thing, which is moving people long distances quickly. They're not good at a whole lot of other things. They're really, really bad. They're good at collecting cars. They're not very good at distributing cars. There are these things that happen immediately that feel pretty good. So if I widen a road, in the short term, the delay is reduced, the cost of time is reduced. But long term, all these kinds of things on the bottom line start to happen, which is the exact opposite of what's generally stated as the preferred outcomes of a planning process. So if we know 20 and 30 years on, we're going to get the opposite outcomes. If we're going to get growing vehicle miles of travel, longer commute times, decreased transit ridership, that's pretty important to talk about. We measure things that we purport will give us a higher standard of living, and often it gives us a lower quality of life because we haven't paid attention to the things that are actually mattering to most people. I think the point is that selling the projects under the wrong pretense doesn't really do anyone a service. These can be good projects, but the real outcomes should be discussed. So instead of the idea that all transportation is about moving cars and finding more and more creative ways to move those cars, the idea that we're moving people, not cars, that we're improving the quality of the travel, this idea of getting back to what cities are all about, moving less people, fewer miles. And we have to stop talking about the idea of solving congestion. What we're doing is managing problems and managing risk. That's really all that can be done in a growing and successful city. We should just be upfront about it and measure things that help to present that.